What did you go see?
I saw On the Basis of Sex.
Okay. What is that? As I tweet out that we're on.
Well, it's about the Ginsburgs, a law family, that struggled with gender discrimination. This was back in the 50 to 70 period. And there was an issue that in the Constitution that it would discriminate against gender. Many laws discriminate against gender.
What?
Yeah, a lot of the laws because, like, men and women weren't equal,
right?
According to the Constitution.
What period of time is this?
This is around. Well, it first starts in the 50s, where they're like in Harvard. She's one of the first females, by the way. Ruth Ginsburg was one of the first females who went to Harvard.
Okay,
and they had to explain themselves why they got a position instead of a man. They had to get up in front of everybody and explain to them why they got it instead of a man. It was a very embarrassing situation, but that's what they had to deal with. They weren't even allowed to talk in court back then, women, in the 50s.
Okay, yeah.
It was rough. It was really rough. And then fast forward to the 70s, and there's more protests. It's more radical movements. They say social radicals.
Yeah.
And
she's a Supreme Court justice, right? This is the story of the Supreme Court's justice.
Well, she's a teacher.
Bader Ginsburg?
Because
is that who we're talking about, though?
Yeah. But at this point,
okay.
She's a teacher.
Okay.
Because she can't become a lawyer because no one will hire her because she's a woman.
So this is her story.
Yeah. Well, her family story, too, because it also involves her husband and their children as well.
Okay, but it's mostly about her.
Yeah, she's the star.
Yeah. Okay. That would have been a way easier way to explain what this movie was. It's the life story of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right?
Yeah, but...
Is it?
It is, but like...
That's what we're talking about here, right? I have no idea what this movie is.
Right.
I didn't see it. You saw it.
Yeah. But it's pretty much just her as a teacher, though. And this is her first time actually in court because she never got the opportunity to be in court before.
Okay.
And, it was historic because this broke down barriers that was written in the Constitution discriminating against gender. And it's funny, too, like a lot of it is for women rights, right? But this was actually for men rights because for men caretakers, it discriminated against them.
Caretakers?
Yeah.
What's a caretaker?
Like someone who takes care of like an older person.
Okay.
And the law actually discriminated against men because it was meant for women.
Okay.
So they actually fought for a man instead in this case. But this would end up changing the laws as well throughout the whole Constitution. There's so many laws that had changed.
This movie sounds so boring. You are not selling this movie to me. It sounds awful.
You're not big on law. I understand that.
It just sounds very procedural.
A little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's funny too. This was filmed in Montreal, by the way.
Oh, okay.
On Saint Jacques, like actually not too far in NDG from where I am, actually. So I had no idea this was actually filming right down the street, but apparently it was. And it's like I noticed this one scene. I'm like, hey, that looks like Saint Jacques, and it was.
Is this an American movie?
It is, but filmed here, so that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, did you like it?
Well, again, this is done mainly in a court, right? So I could see, with you especially, it might be kind of boring. I thought it was very exciting. I thought, for me, the last 20 minutes, I was like, wow, this is really interesting, really intriguing. And they're just debating in court. And I was like on the edge of my seat with that.
I feel like you like every movie you go see, though. I can't remember a single Johnny North movie review here where you come and you're like, I didn't really like it. You always find the good in every movie, John. It's nice. It's a nice movie review. It's always positive. Every movie you see, you're always like, I like it. It was really fascinating, or, lesbian sex, or thumb in the butt, or, whatever.
That's a little bit more extreme.
Well, those are the other movies that you talk about on this show. Right. So it's just interesting to me that you always like the movie. You can't come up with one movie that you've seen, that you've reviewed, that you don't like.
That's not true. I saw Neighbors 2, and that was terrible. The first one was good. The second one, though, why did we have to sit through that?
Neighbors 2.
Neighbors 2, yeah.
You did not like Neighbors 2.
Yeah, with Seth Rogen, yeah. Zach Pratt.
By all means, don't see Neighbors 2, because if Johnny North didn't like it, it must be terrible. Right?
I'm very much like how Wally likes a lot of stuff in wrestling, but there's certain things he doesn't like in wrestling, much like Corey Graves. So Corey Graves must be really bad if Wally doesn't like him. That's my standard on looking on things like that.
You think of Wally and what he thinks, yeah?
We think a lot alike.
Sure. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't see into your brains. Okay, so you liked the movie, John. You enjoyed it.
I think you'd enjoy it too.
I might.
You'd have to, sit through 2 hours. That might be tough for you.
I don't like sitting through whole movies. I don't like it. I don't like going to the movies, really. I don't go very often. I can't remember the last time I went.
Machete.
No, it was more recent than that, but I can't remember. I'm really at a loss. It may have been that John Goodman movie, still, that I saw in the theater. I don't know. I don't go see a lot of movies. It just doesn't happen.
It's all right.
You go see the movies for both of us. I can't think of any movie that I've seen recently, going to movies,